Awesome. So thanks a lot, first of all, for inviting me. And I'm happy to be here, although virtually, but still happy to be here to present Omdena. So I think so I've been building this company, Omdena. Briefly about me, I come from a very technical background. Over the last 10 years, I've been working in the AI space, building different AI solutions, as well as in the startup world. And one thing that I can quite confirm, or I agree with one of the things that the previous speaker was saying, that the future changes will come from startups, which I kind of personally also believe a lot. And that's what made me build this startup. Now, being in the tech world, what we have seen that there's a lot of talk around AI and machine learning, but the fact is that 80% of the projects still fail. And even it's not just about small companies, even big companies like Amazon's end up building solutions that are, let's say, kind of, in the case of Amazon, was sexist, were biased against women, hiring them. And it's not that they don't have the best programmers, they don't have the money, yet these solutions fail a lot. And that's kind of quite worrying for any technology. If 80%, more than 80% of the projects fail in a given technology, then that's like, that's just something really worrying. And when I look back, and when I think about why these technologies are failing, yet I personally think that there's a huge potential of using AI and machine learning in future organizations. And I think that the future is where almost every organization will become a data science organization, where everything will be driven through data. And it doesn't mean that humans will be replaced, but it's about data being the key factor and decisions being taken with the data. And that's made me build the Omdena. And specifically, what I personally believe that the biggest value of AI and machine learning is to solve social and environmental problems that will create an impact, positive impact in the world. And the question that is, of course, that how do we build those solutions for successful adoption? And actually, that will not only be success in terms of building the solution, but also being adopted and used by it. And to the end, it came to one basic point, which I think is the key to building solutions in any form, but more so in the AI space, is that we have to build this solution collaboratively, involving different stakeholders so that they can come together, collaborate, and build those solutions. And although there's a lot of talk that is being spoken about how to build those, that everything should be collaborative, but there are not a lot of people who actually are able to build something collaboratively, and specifically solutions like AI and machine learning. And that's what ends up being, we end up creating solutions which are failing a lot because they are not taking into account the users, the stakeholders who are going to perhaps use it. The data, whose data are we using? When big companies are building solutions using our data, we are not often aware of what data is being used, and we don't have a real consent, to be honest, although we can say a checkbox somewhere, but we don't really have a concept of how this data is being used. So the key to building such kind of AI solutions is that we have to involve the people to actually build a solution. And that's what we are trying to achieve. That over the last 2.5 years that we have built this company is basically involving people from all over the world who come together, who are collaborating for a given period of time and building those solutions. And currently, we have our engineers over 100 countries who have worked together in 120 projects. And I'll briefly talk about some of the projects towards the end, what kind of projects we have worked. But this idea is that we are building something where, like, my first slide was building AI for the people, by the people. And it's very important that we are involving the people in the ground. If we are building a solution in Somalia or somewhere in Africa or even in Asia, we involve the people in the ground who have the first-hand experience of the problem, first-hand experience of the data. They come together and building together with the global community. And that's what which I feel is the key to making successful AI solutions also. And who are these people? And this is something often we ask, and this is just a snapshot of some of those people. These are, of course, there are many people who are students who are learning data science, machine learning, but there's a lot of people who come from well-established companies who want to come and give their time to build the solutions because they feel intrinsically motivated to do these things and want to be part of something building. Statistically, when I look at the people, and this is very important, that what we see that more than 30% of our collaborators or people who are coming are female, which is a very high proportion for any tech company. And this is not like we are kind of engineering something. We just what we see people who apply for that. Age group is also not like young students. Is in fact one of the oldest person that has been in the 65. Median age is around mid 30s and 40s is the median age. Which is, again, a very interesting phenomenon that we see that when we are connecting people to come together and solve problems, we are potentially attracting a different group of people. Typically, in most tech companies, the age group is in their 20s, fresh graduates or who are recent graduates, often from some of those clusters in the world, if I use the word clusters and tech hubs and tech clusters, and predominantly male. And I think just by flipping and saying, let's use the global community who can come and solve, we are just also making it more inclusive and it makes much more diverse. And I think that's the key also to building ethical solutions and more, because then that's kind of, they are able to detect the biases in the data much better. And I'm sorry, this is the key, that what we have seen, that if any company wants to build successful AI solutions, there are 4 components. It's not just the people. It's just not about getting the best people. It's about getting a diverse group of people, building processes that make these people collaborate, where they feel inclusive and they're happy to share their views and knowledge with other people without competing with each other, trying to win something. And on top of that, providing the right knowledge base and the tools. And this is what is an ecosystem that, or a platform that truly can build solutions for the future. And I will say that we are in the path of building that, and of course we'll keep on improving it, but we have done a lot of those projects and using these 4 components, which we have seen kind of creates better solutions, according to my opinion. I will skip this slide because this is a bit more technical, and I think perhaps just to give you an idea, some of the processes that we have built, which is basically how do you make people collaborate? How do you make the review process? How do you pick the best models that come out from this collaborative environment? So this is more technical, but just to give you a sense that it's not just about some people, but it's also actually having the right processes in place. And as a company, of course, we have worked with many organizations around the world. Maybe I will give you a few examples of some of the work we have done. And this is just a snapshot, like we have done over 120 projects, and you can check our blog. But I will give 2 or 3 examples. So one example was, we were working in Nigeria, and the goal was the NGO came to us and said they would like to educate their policymakers to understand that they need to adopt solar power, but not only that they need solar power, but they also want to show where should they go for the solar power panel. And it was an NGO based in Nigeria. We got a group of collaborators, around 50 from all over the world, many of them from that region or around the region. And they first looked at the problem and said, okay, how can we show that why do we need a solar power? And what data can we build upon it? And the first, the way they found out is, let's look at how Nigeria looks at night.
Rudradeb, I'm sorry to interrupt. There's only 5 more seconds.
Okay, sorry. So I will skip those examples, but this is just kind of, I can go on different examples, but the key is that there are different ways we solve different problems, like including how do we in Nigeria or in Somalia, how do we define conflicts and climate change, or in Istanbul, how do you identify the safe route in case of an earthquake? And there's a lot of those examples. I would not have the time to perhaps show that, but yeah, that's pretty much what I had to share today.